Hello, Gender Tweakers. This is Isla. This week's topic is personal gender identity, and I had a pretty solid feeling ever since I was about 5 years old that I was not who I was supposed to be. I knew at age 5 that I was not a boy, and thinking back to those days now, I suspect that I had exhibited something to my parents that indicated that I felt myself a girl and that they had done a number of things to try to repress this within me. And I won't go into details about that right now. I don't know if I had already had my identity as a female beaten out of me or otherwise made repugnant to me. I'm not sure because I don't remember that far back. However, I was hungry to find some kind of identity that fit me. I played with my sister, with her dolls, with her friends. I never fit in with the boys, and once school got going underway, I was constantly rejected and harassed and beaten up by the guys, and it was consistent. I mean, I've had some really horrendous things happen to me. As if that wasn't enough to please folks, the teachers would allow fights on the playground for them to go and essentially beat the tar out of me because I had no ability to defend myself. And this went on pretty much up until about my junior year in high school, when I think the kids found other things to get involved with and left me alone. I did read, though. There was a book that was popular in the 60s about sex, and when I was 12, I read that book, which pretty much gave me my first education on transsexuals, and I knew at that time that I must be a transsexual, but because they were portrayed in such poor light by the author that this was not something I wanted to take on myself. But I couldn't resist that reality, and by the time I was in my late teens and in my early 20s, I was constantly having the idea that I'm a woman come to consciousness all the time. I'm a woman, I'm a woman. Another thing that affected my identity was I took a anatomy course in the junior college I was going to, and within my textbook was a photograph of a man with Klinefelter syndrome. And when I saw this picture, I was like totally amazed, because that person there, it was basically nude from waist up, and what I saw there was what I saw in me. So for the longest time, I believed I had Klinefelter syndrome. This would figure later in life, after struggling for the next 25 years to find who and what I was. I got married at one point and decided to try to get rid of this gender dysphoria that I suffered. And I went into fundamentalist religion, which, even though I studied really hard, I was able to quote scripture out of my head, to be able to do a pretty good job of defending the faith, and I even studied Greek and Hebrew. But in going through this whole process, I could not find the answers I needed. I was still hungry inside for a spiritual awakening, and for a way out of this dysphoria I constantly felt in life. I was afraid of losing everything I had. First, I lost my family due to the various things that happens in life. And once I got married, I certainly didn't want to lose my spouse. Then there came a time, shortly after I turned 40, when I started having a lot of related health issues. And these health issues started to form a pattern. And by that time, the internet was up and running, and I was able to do some research and eventually found that a lot of what I was going through were common diseases of those who have Klinefelter syndrome once they reach middle age. I had a karyotype, which is a test of your genetic structure, and the single test I had did not support the conclusion that I had Klinefelter's, but because of some of the anatomic abnormalities I have, I do have a diagnosis of intersex and have long not had testosterone within me. I've developed without a lot of male secondary sex characteristics. I could probably go into those on another video. But the point is, after a long process, I found that, yes, I'm intersex. And this really became my first real gender identity. The fact that, yeah, I'm not the male that I knew I wasn't. And there's some legitimacy for my feeling deep within me that I am female. Eventually the point came where my endocrinologist kept insisting that I take testosterone, and I knew inside of me I would never ever take testosterone. I mean, that's just, no. I'm not going to do that to myself. And it took me a while to work up the courage to ask for estrogen. I needed some kind of sex hormones to help restore my body to a state that I would not be threatened by some of these others health problems that I was experiencing to the extent that I was. And once I did, my endocrinologist, my first one, he just looked at me and he said, we don't do that here. But they did get me a referral to an endocrinologist who did handle transgender clients, and I got to see him. And once I got the letter from my therapist, I started hormones on October 20th, 2009. And that was an exciting day for me because I was now starting to cross the lines and start becoming who I really am. During the last 6 years of my life, I have finally reached a place where I've let go of religion and have found spiritual practices that have helped me tremendously to accept who I am and to be self-supportive as far as knowing, hey, I'm okay. I deserve to be who I am. I deserve to love myself. I deserve to be loved as I am by other people. And in taking on my identity, I've gone through growing pains. I think all of us who cross the gender barrier in our culture pass through some narcissistic and perhaps adolescent phases that other people find totally unpalatable. During this process, my spouse divorced me, and she's still having a hard time coming to terms with who and what I am now. But I do have to say that as a woman, I am very, very happy. for the first time in my life, I feel that yes, I am who I am meant to be. I'm a woman. And I think any person who has this gender dysphoria within you, you won't know if this is the answer for you until you've tried it, until you start doing those things to try to help yourself. And some people may find that no, this is not the answer for them, but so many of us, if we just stop fighting and start looking within ourselves at the answers that are already inside, we'll know. This is our identity. This is who we are. And in the believing that, and in loving who we are, and in becoming very grateful for being who we are not only going to create the environment which we need to thrive as who we are, but we're also going to have other people attracted to us who are going to see this positive energy, who are going to see our love and see the joy in our lives. And we won't be alone. And the more that we exhibit this female energy within ourselves, the more it's going to be apparent to other people. The more you'll feminize. And it doesn't matter what this really looks like, because eventually who you are is going to outshine the shell you live in. When I started out years ago contemplating, thinking about taking my first steps into this world, I was so afraid because I thought I would be forever this monstrous creature who would never appear to be the woman. But that was a change that had to happen up here and in here. And once those changes happened, I have become the woman that I know I truly am. So I hope I haven't dragged this out too long. I just have to say it's a wonderful thing to be here. And if this is what you are being led to, be brave. Be strong. Believe that this has not happened to you by accident. There's a reason for everything in your life. And if you step out and take the chance to be who you truly are, you may find the joy, the satisfaction, and the sheer bliss of what it is to be who you are. So, thank you all. I hope to see you all next week, and take care. Bye.